Linda Gardner woke up before sunrise, as she always did. Usually, the early morning hours brought her a sense of calm before the chaos of the day, time to prepare breakfast, check Noah's school things, and ready herself for another shift at the hospital. But today was different. Her body felt unbearably heavy, her head throbbed with a relentless ache, and her throat burned as if she had swallowed fire. She tried to push herself upright, but every movement sent a wave of dizziness crashing through her. Still, out of habit and stubbornness, she rose. Her first thought was of Noah. Dragging herself down the narrow hallway of their modest apartment, she opened his bedroom door. Noah, time to wake up. Her 12-year-old son stirred, blinking open his brown eyes. His black hair was tousled against the pillow. When he saw her, his smile was warm, so much like his late father's, but quickly shifted into concern. "Good morning, Mom," Noah greeted softly. "Are you okay? You don't look well." Linda forced a smile that didn't quite reach her tired eyes. "I'm fine, sweetheart, just a little tired. Come on, let's get ready for school." She helped him into his wheelchair with practiced care, her hands steady though her body trembled with fever. Their routine was well rehearsed, dressing him, checking his school bag, preparing a simple breakfast. 3 years had passed since the car accident that changed everything. Noah had lost the use of his legs, and Linda had lost the illusion of an easy life. Every day since then had been a balancing act between her demanding nursing shifts, household responsibilities, and being both mother and father to Noah. At breakfast, Noah studied her closely. "Mom, don't you think you have a fever?" he asked, worry etched on his young face. "I'm fine," Linda reassured, though her voice cracked. "I'll rest after my shift." After dropping Noah at school, she tried to ignore the pulsing pain in her temples, but then her phone rang. Seeing her mother's name flash across the screen, Linda felt a familiar pang in her chest. She hesitated, then answered, "Good morning, Mom." Diane's tone was sharp, commanding. "Linda, the date for Vanessa's dress fitting has changed. It's next Wednesday. You should come too." Linda closed her eyes, fighting the headache that worsened with every word. "Mom, I work on Wednesdays. Besides, Vanessa doesn't really want me there." Always with the excuses, Diane snapped. "We're family, Linda. This is Vanessa's special day." "Mom, I really can't," Linda whispered, her throat raw. "I don't have the flexibility to just take time off." The call ended with coldness that stung worse than her fever. To her parents, she was never enough. Vanessa, their golden child, was everything: beautiful, successful, engaged to a wealthy man. Linda, a single mother raising a disabled son, was their shameful reminder of failure. By the time she reached the hospital, her body had nearly given out. Her colleague Sarah rushed to her side the moment she staggered through the staff entrance. "Linda, are you all right? You're pale as a ghost." "I'm just," Linda began, but dizziness overtook her, and Sarah caught her before she collapsed. Minutes later, she was lying in an exam room. "Doctor." Edward's voice was firm as he checked her vitals. "You have a high fever, likely influenza. You need complete bed rest for several days." "But, Noah," Linda whispered weakly. "Doctor." Edward frowned. "Linda, you give so much of yourself to others, but if you collapse, who will care for your son? You need rest." The truth struck her like a knife. She had no backup plan. When Sarah gently suggested, "Don't you have family you can call?" Linda almost laughed through her tears. Family? If only they could see Noah as she did. If only they had the heart to help. But desperation made her try. Later, back in her small apartment, her fever worsening, she dialed her parents. With shaky fingers and tears threatening to fall, she whispered a prayer before the line connected. Her mother answered, irritation already in her voice. "Linda, what is it?" "I'm very busy with wedding preparations." Linda swallowed hard. "Mom, I've come down with the flu. The doctor says I need complete rest. Could you please take care of Noah for a few days?" Silence, then a cold sigh. "This is terrible timing. Vanessa has her final dress fitting. The invitations need reviewing. And there's the flower arrangement meeting." "Mom, please," Linda begged, her voice breaking. "I can't do this alone. I'm really sick. Just for a few days." Her mother's tone hardened. "Always problems with you. Always at the worst time." This is Vanessa's moment, not yours. Stop trying to steal the attention. Tears slid down Linda's fevered cheeks. Still, she whispered, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for Noah. That was when she heard Vanessa's voice in the background. Give me the phone. Her sister's cold tone cut sharper than a blade. Linda, can you not ruin everything for once? My wedding is coming up. I can't have you dragging drama into this. Vanessa, I didn't choose to get sick. This is what happens when you have a worthless child. Vanessa spat. The words stole Linda's breath. For a moment, her mind went blank. Then, anger surged. Noah is not worthless, Linda shouted through tears. He is my son, my heart. Don't you ever say that again. Mom and Dad have always cleaned up your messes, Vanessa replied icily. But not this time. My wedding comes first. Solve your problems yourself. Her father's voice in the background was the final blow. Hang up. The line went dead. Linda crumpled onto her bed, her phone slipping from her hand. Sobs racked her frail body. Her fever raged, but nothing burned more than the betrayal. They hadn't just abandoned her, they had insulted Noah. Moments later, the doorbell rang. She forced herself up, clinging to a fragile hope. Maybe they'd changed their minds, maybe. But when she opened the door, it was Sarah. Linda, Sarah exclaimed, rushing to her side. You shouldn't be up. I told the school I'd pick up Noah. You need to rest. Sarah guided her back to bed, placed a cool cloth on her forehead, and held her trembling hand as Linda tearfully recounted the phone call. They're my family, Linda whispered brokenly. Why won't they help me? Sarah's grip tightened. Because they don't deserve you. Family isn't just blood, it's who stands by you. You have Noah, and you have me. Through tears, Linda whispered, but you have your own family. Friends are family too, Sarah said firmly. My husband understands. My son loves Noah. We'll look after you both. Exhausted, Linda finally took the medicine Sarah offered. Before drifting into sleep, she asked for her phone. With trembling hands, she typed a single message to Judith, the owner of Willow Creek Manor, her longtime friend. Judith, we need to talk about Vanessa's wedding reservation. As she set the phone aside and closed her eyes, her body surrendered to fevered sleep, but in her heart, a quiet resolve was forming. They had called her son worthless. They had abandoned her in her moment of need. This time, Linda would not forgive. And when she woke, she would begin to show them what worthless truly meant. The sharp sound of knocking echoed through the hallway. Knock, knock, knock. Please, Linda, open up. A trembling voice pierced the silence. It was her mother. Linda froze where she stood, her hand tightening on the armrest of Noah's wheelchair. She glanced down at her son. Noah's wide eyes mirrored her own shock. Again, the knocking returned, louder, more desperate, each strike against the door carrying the weight of urgency and fear. Linda, please open up. We need your help. Mom? Noah's voice was soft, hesitant, almost frightened. He leaned closer to his mother. It sounds like Grandma is crying. Linda swallowed hard. She placed her hand gently on Noah's shoulder and forced a small, reassuring smile. Noah, she whispered, go to your room for a little while, please. His lips pressed together in worry, but he obeyed, slowly wheeling himself down the hallway. He looked back once before disappearing into his room. Now alone, Linda stood in front of the door. She could still hear her mother's muffled sobs and the persistent knocking. For a long moment, she debated whether to answer. Then, taking in a deep, steadying breath, she turned the knob and opened the door. 3 figures stood outside. Her mother, Diane, looked utterly broken, her eyes swollen, her face streaked with tears. Her father, Robert, stood tall but tense, his usual commanding presence dulled by the anger in his expression. And her sister, Vanessa, the confident, proud Vanessa was now a shadow of herself, her eyes red and glistening with tears. Finally, you opened. Diane exhaled shakily, her voice trembling with relief. Linda, please, we need your help. Linda's face remained calm, her emotions carefully hidden. What's wrong? Can we come in? Robert asked, his voice still stern but noticeably strained. Linda hesitated, then stepped aside. The 3 entered. their presence instantly filling the small living room. Vanessa avoided eye contact. Her shoulders slumped, her posture devoid of the confidence she had always carried like armor. "Linda?" Diane's voice broke again as she tried to compose herself. "Something terrible has happened. The venue, Willow Creek Manor, has cancelled our reservation." Linda's expression shifted slightly, though she hid her satisfaction. "Really?" "Yes." Vanessa's voice cracked as fresh tears streamed down her cheeks. "The wedding is in just 2 months. What are we supposed to do now?" Robert stepped forward, his eyes narrowing at his daughter. "According to the owner, you had something to do with this." Linda's gaze locked with his. Her tone remained calm. "And why would you think that?" Diane wrung her hands, her voice faltering. "The owner said, the discount was only given because of your approval. He said you revoked it." "That's not all," Robert added bitterly. "We've checked every other venue. They're all fully booked for the season. There's nowhere left." Vanessa, in a sudden burst of desperation, rushed forward. "Please, Linda, please help us. You're our only hope." Linda stared at her sister, memories flashing in her mind, memories of 2 weeks ago, of a single cruel word Vanessa had spoken over the phone. Worthless. The wound was still fresh, raw, and deep. "What do you expect from someone worthless?" Linda's voice was sharp, almost cutting. The room fell silent. Her words landed like a stone in water, sending ripples of shame across their faces. Vanessa's cheeks went pale. Diane's lips trembled. Even Robert's strong stance faltered. "Linda, you?" Diane whispered, her voice breaking. "Do you remember?" Linda pressed, her tone rising. 2 weeks ago, when I collapsed with a fever and begged you to take care of Noah." The three exchanged uneasy glances, as if hoping the other would speak first. "What did you say then?" Linda continued, her voice growing colder. "Busy with wedding dresses. Don't interfere. And you, Vanessa, what did you say?" Vanessa opened her mouth but closed it again. She stared at the floor, silent. "This is what happens," Linda said bitterly, "when you have a worthless child." Her eyes burned as she threw Vanessa's words back at her. "Linda?" Vanessa's voice was fragile now, all arrogance stripped away. "At that time, No." Linda cut her off. "You called Noah worthless. My son. Everything to me." Diane stepped closer, her hands clasped in pleading. "Linda, please, we were wrong. We were blind and cruel. But please, forgive us." "For what?" Linda demanded. "So you can do it again? Hurt me again? Hurt Noah again?" Robert, surprisingly, was the one who spoke next. His voice, usually firm, softened. "Linda, we won't. I won't. I was wrong. More than anyone." His eyes held something Linda hadn't seen in years, genuine regret. "Where's Noah?" Diane suddenly asked, tears falling freely. "I want to see him. I need to apologize to him directly." Linda hesitated, her heart torn between anger and the faintest flicker of hope. "Mom?" The soft voice came from the doorway. Noah had wheeled himself back into the room. His eyes, big and innocent, looked between his mother and his grandmother. "Noah," Diane gasped, stepping forward instinctively before freezing under Linda's piercing gaze. "Grandma, why are you crying?" Noah asked, tilting his head. The room was swallowed in silence, every word unspoken hanging heavily in the air. Linda inhaled slowly, her chest tightened as she looked at the 3 people who had once turned their backs on her. She made her choice. "I might forgive you," she said finally, her voice steady, "but there will be conditions." The 3 of them looked up at her instantly, their eyes wide, clinging to the faint light of hope. "Name them," Vanessa blurted quickly, her desperation clear. "We'll do anything, anything you ask." Linda arched an eyebrow. "Then listen carefully.